Planet of the Apes. It is officially wartime, and I have to say, this movie kicks off with a strong. Well, it starts off with the apes versus the humans. Obviously, that's the war here, and we're looking at how, I guess, quote unquote, how the apes are dealing with the humans and how the humans deal with the apes, and we kind of see this cross of paths between the two. Like, the movie opens up with soldiers coming across, finding the ape civilization that Caesar has, and essentially they're going to kill all of the apes, or they're going to try to. They ambush them, and then we see how they fight. It was an ambush, so they're not prepared, and then the apes die. But slowly and surely, as soon as Caesar and the other apes get into war mode, they overwhelm them with the number of apes that are there. So because of that, we kind of see the soldiers cower and hide behind, and we also see that the soldiers are working with apes or gorillas, or they're working with the apes who were following Koba. And in the last movie, they were kind of they didn't like Caesar all that much. They sided with Koba. They imprisoned Ape. They just went against him. And because they went against him, they're kind of seeking shelter or working with the humans in order to beat the apes so that way they can live. But, that makes them even more of a traitor against the apes. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but they've already crossed the line, so it's kind of like, where do they go? So now those apes work for the soldiers, and then they kind of help them out and they fight together, quote unquote. But anyways, the soldiers, they attack the apes, all right? They find Caesar. And that's kind of their main goal. They're going after finding the basic idea is if they kill Caesar, the rest of the apes won't be able to protect themselves. They won't be as strong without him because he's a powerful leader and he gets things done. You know what I mean? He just has that. He is him. You know what I'm saying? He's Caesar, so he's at the top. He's the leader. And then we have this amazing moment between Caesar and the rest of the soldiers that just ambushed them, the ones that survived. We have this moment where he captures them, he holds them down, and he kind of asks them, like, what are you doing here? What's going on, guys? I mean, I'm kind of like simplifying it for you, but there's a great exchange between them. And what really matters in this scene is Caesar is trying to get them to understand that he really doesn't have a problem with the humans. But what he does have a problem with is them trying to kill them. You know what I mean? He was trying to make life habitable between humans and apes, but that didn't really work out. So now he's at war to protect the apes, and now it's just like he's telling them, I didn't start the war. Koba did. He died, but now I have to protect the apes and the ones that he put into harm's way from you guys. And then the soldiers are like, just kill us already. We know you're going to kill us. And then Caesar's like, but I'm better than you, so I will free you. So essentially he releases the soldiers. He gives them back to the colonel or their boss and stuff. And he even talks to the gorilla or the ape. Gorilla, ape, whatever, right? He talks to the traitor and he goes like, what's going on with you? You know what I mean? What's up? What's on the up and up, right? Like, you're afraid of what I'm going to do to you, and now here we are. And so he has another gorilla or another ape like take him away while they give up they release the soldiers. And then later on in the film we find out that, well, in a little while later we find out that the gorilla escaped, and then it becomes a whole thing. But we'll get back to that. What this film kind of focuses on or touches on or kind of makes me realize is the cycle of vengeance, the way that we want revenge, the thing that our heart yearns for at times is like this unforgivable quest to just like, you did something to me, now I have to do something to you, and that's the cycle. You know what I mean? So the soldiers that Caesar just released gave them their lives. He showed them real mercy by letting them go. He could have just killed them all and nobody would have known. But he let them go and he let them live their lives, go back to doing what they were doing. But it backfires because now they know where Caesar is. Now they have, I don't know, somewhat of an idea of how they're living. I don't know how much they saw of the inside, but they know that like now they can strike, now they can do what they have to do. And it gets sad, bro. The colonel shows up, played by Woody Harrelson, who does a phenomenal job, especially later on. He has this dialogue, but we see him show up with, you know, more soldiers, and he kills he kills Caesar's wife and son, the eldest son. I forget his name, but he kills his oldest son, and he's heartbroken. He's upset. And his youngest son, Cornelius, is left without a mom, without a big brother. He's, you know what I mean? He's all on his own. And now Caesar wants vengeance for the colonel killing them. He wants to kill him. And we kind of see this hate for humans, or hate for the colonel, specifically the colonel. He wants to kill the colonel because he killed his wife and children, and he feels like by killing him, he'll get vengeance, he'll get revenge, he'll feel better in that vengeance, you know what I mean? And we never seen him really, quote unquote, go that far. I can't say for certain we haven't, but we've seen him fight against humans. We've seen him kill humans or like give the order to like protect themselves, but he's never, and it's always been for protection, self-defense, I feel. You know what I mean? Just like, I want to live, so you're trying to kill me, I have to protect myself. It was like that on the San Francisco Bridge. It was like that in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, where it just felt like, and even at times of this movie where it's like, they're the enemy, they're trying to kill me and hurt me. I have to protect myself and the other apes. So, you know, he does what he has to do. But this one's kind of like, out of the way. It's not about survival. It's not about taking care of the group, right? Otherwise, he would have gone with the group when they were trying to escape or trying to find a new land to live in, a new place. Instead, he goes after the colonel to kill him. It's all about the vengeance. And as the apes flee, we see Caesar, he's just like, I'm going after the colonel by myself. You guys take care of my son Cornelius and everything will be okay. You know what I mean? He's just like, be good and everything will be just fine. And so we kind of see how this vengeance turns Caesar. We kind of see how it changes him. They took away something so precious from him. His love has been killed right in front of him. And we kind of see flashbacks, or we see a ghost of Koba. And understanding that Caesar is slowly, he understood, but he's kind of becoming into Koba. He's turning into Koba. His hate for humans, his hate for the colonel is kind of making him relive the moment of killing Koba, of like his misanthropy, his hate for humans is kind of pulling Caesar in that direction, and it's kind of his quest or his journey for vengeance to kill one colonel when there's so much other things he could be doing. It kind of haunts him, and it makes him feel like maybe he made the wrong decision, or that trusting humans was the wrong way, or that killing Koba, that by killing Koba didn't really change anything, because now he's becoming Koba, and as long as this war keeps on dragging out, all apes will slowly become just like him. And then we find out that on their journey to find the colonel, they find a guy all by himself with firewood. One singular person, and Caesar kills the guy, which was dark, because it wasn't like, well, he was protecting the other apes. He has like a small team of like Rocket, Maurice, and one other gorilla. I forget his name, but essentially the four of them are on this journey together, and then the guy comes out, tries to put down the firewood, picks up his gun, and is about to shoot them, but then Caesar shoots him first. But we come to realize what he was protecting, or what he was doing there. He wasn't there alone. He was there with a little girl who has now just been orphaned, and Caesar, or Maurice, kind of tells Caesar that, like, listen, I can't leave her because we just killed the only protection and family or person that was going to take care of her. She's going to die all by herself. And Caesar's like, fine, whatever, we'll take her with us. So now they have this girl with them. And eventually, as they keep on journeying, trying to find the colonel, they find another ape who steals from them, who like steals a jacket or steals their horse and whatnot. They chase after him, and then they find out it's another ape, but it's not a regular ape. It's a zoo. It's a zoo ape, one that was freed after the drug spread and it got all over the place. And we see that his name is Bad Ape. He's really a cute little guy, a little misguided and a little funny, but he's not overly menacing or powerful, but he is. I wish there was some point in the movie where they called him Good Ape, but Bad Ape only speaks. He has no friends. He's all by himself. He's really, really cute. And we kind of see that we learn how he survived all of this time in the war, and how he knows where the colonel is or where he might be. And then, I'm going to skip a couple of steps, but eventually they find the colonel, and there's this huge moment of confrontation between the two of them. I'm not going to say it's not a physical fight, but it's a mental, and it's so perfect. I feel like that moment, that scene where the colonel and Caesar talk face to face, and they really have this moment of dialogue between the two of them, is some of the best work out of all of these films together. It's a buildup of so much and a clash of ideologies between the humans and between the apes. And we see that the colonel caught all of the apes from Caesar's group, community. He has captured them all and he's making them all work for him because he's going to make them build a wall, and that wall is going to be used to fight against other humans who don't like the colonel, and because they don't like the colonel, they're going to go back and forth between each other. Anyways, that's not the important part. The important part is Colonel and Caesar talking to each other, and they talk about mercy, you know? And there's this great moment where Woody Harrelson comes up to Caesar and he says, "You came here to kill me. Were you going to show me mercy?" And then Caesar says, "I showed you mercy when I released your men back to you. I offered you peace and you still attacked us. You still came back and you killed my wife. You killed my son." You know what I mean? And oh my goodness, that was such a powerful moment, such a great dynamic between the two, is that like they're both leaders, they're both at the top, and having this discussion between the two of them, it really got you to see just who they are. And then the colonel kind of explains that like, I had to make some difficult choices. The simian flu, or the virus that was spread all around the world, is now mutating and is infecting people even further, turning them into apes, you know, unable to speak or talk, and they kind of do this kind of a speech, the same way that the little girl does, because she doesn't speak either. So now everything starts to piece together that she was abandoned because she had the flu or she had the sickness, and the person who was taking care of her was trying to cure her of it so that way they didn't have to kill her. And then they found more people that were infected. They were going to kill them too. So it was just like getting rid of them. And eventually, you know, they have their dialogue, they have their moment. And in the end, he just makes Caesar work. You know, he ties him up like on this big X. He doesn't feed them any food or water. And it's this incredible strength and will between the apes and the colonel, between Caesar and the colonel. And we kind of see that Caesar wasn't going to make it until he gets help from Nova, which is the name of the little girl now. And she gives him water to drink. She gives him food to eat. And we see that there is good in humans, but it just, you know, it just can't be helped what's going on right now. So anyways, as Caesar's dying, as he's blanking out, as he's about to succumb to forced manual labor, no food, no water, essentially drained of all of his life, he's still haunted by Koba and his thirst for revenge against the colonel, and how Koba is kind of telling him, "Come over, join me, be like me." You know what I'm saying? Hate humans like I do. But he can't. You know what I mean? He's conflicted, because on the one hand, the little girl is there and she shows kindness and real compassion and love for Caesar, as well as the other apes, by working together. But then we know that there is no way out other than to fight. And right now they're at the bottom. They're chained up. They're forced to work. They're given the bare minimum to survive. And they know they have to escape. Fortunately, we have Maurice, we have Rocket, we have Bad Ape, we have Nova, all on the same team. And they help us figure out an escape plan, which is underground tunnels. And the underground tunnels are the only way for the infected humans to escape from. The ones who kind of turned into apes, I think, or whatnot. I don't I don't exactly remember, but there are underground tunnels that the apes can use to escape and get out from wherever they're held. And now they're in the middle of a time crunch because the other military is coming through to kill the other humans. And it's going to be a war against humans, and the apes are going to get caught in the mix. And if there's one thing they all know is that the humans hate the apes, and they will kill them too. So now they have to figure out a plan in order to save not only them, but their kids, the children, to save Cornelius. And eventually it comes down to Maurice and the others and Bad Ape to save everyone. And then all of a sudden they get like they have to figure out a plan to save the children above ground. They can't go underneath anymore. And so on and so forth. Somehow or another, they get the keys to unlock the children's place and to unlock their cages. So now it's time to go. It's time to get a move on. All in one night. We got to get it. We got to figure this out. We got to move. And that's when it's time for action. They start going and going and going. The first step is save the children, get the kids out one by one, make sure that the kids get out safely first. Next are the adults, or the apes, all right? Then they can escape. And as the adults are escaping, that's when all hell breaks loose, when the new military shows up and it's just bombs, guns, bombs, explosions, grenades. Everything just starts coming out right then and there. And Caesar, still wanting to kill the colonel, has to go and find him and kill him. Now, what I didn't mention, or I guess I'll mention it right now, the little girl carried around this doll. It's like not that good of a doll, but she carries it around. And when she went to go feed Caesar, give him water and give him, food and whatnot, she left that there for him as like a comfort for when she was sick. That was something that comforted her. So she left it in her cage. And the colonel picked it up. He was like, how did this get in here? Where does this come from? So he's like very curious about it. So Caesar is ready to go up there and kill the colonel. He's ready to find him and let him have it. And then we find out that the colonel is now infected with the can't talk and the de-evolution. You know what I mean? He's slowly becoming ape, like ape. And Caesar holds the gun to his head and realizes this, and he's about to pull the trigger. But instead of doing it, he holds back and he lets him do it himself. And that was such a powerful moment. He's not Koba. He's not Koba. He could have easily done it for his wife, for his son, for his imprisonment of all the apes, for Cornelius. But instead of killing him, he saw the humanity leaving him. And that was the worst thing for him. And he wanted him to do it himself in order to preserve what was left of it, so to speak. And then Caesar has to get out of there because now it looks like he killed the colonel and war's breaking out. So Caesar essentially realizes that the base is filled with like this flammable oil, or like, it's getting drenched in this stuff. And if he blows it up, then all of them are done. And he's basically destroyed the whole camp. So he goes to throw a grenade into the fire thing, into the flammable oil, the flammable gasoline, I guess, or whatever. He's about to throw it, and then he gets hit by a crossbow, and it's the soldier he saved at the beginning of this movie. and he's just like, oh, you know what I mean? He's not gonna make it. He looks like it's all done for. But there has been this quote unquote, I mean, there's been this donkey, red donkey, they call him in the film. He's a gorilla who works for the humans, and so that way he can be protected against the apes. And he essentially saves Caesar. You know, he sees his perseverance and his strength, and he saves Caesar by killing the guy that Caesar saved at the beginning, the soldier. And so Caesar sees this, and then they kill Red Donkey right there. A little bit of redemption. You know, he's not fully redeemed per se, but saving Caesar was the right thing to do. And that was a beautiful moment of redemption. So then Caesar destroys the base. He blows it up. Crazy. But in that explosion, they're in like this kind of winter. I don't know if it is winter or if just the mountain region itself is snowy, but that explosion caused an avalanche. And now all of the humans at the bottom who were going to kill the colonel and his crew are coming to realize that the avalanche is going to kill them. So they're trying to run away, but the avalanche just takes them all out. But the apes, they make it. They survive. They survive because they were able to climb the trees, and all of them were able to live. All of the babies, all of the apes. Caesar's still around. He's hanging on for dear life, you know? And now, after everything that they've been through, they go to this new home that Caesar's son had kind of found. And we see that it's a beautiful paradise for the apes. But sadly, due to his injuries, Caesar died. And he's at peace knowing that they're in a better place. And that, you know, at the end of this whole journey, he was very important. You know what I mean? The soldiers thought that by killing Caesar, the rest of the apes would collapse and die without him. But in actuality, he realizes that the apes are capable of persevering without him, and they'll be strong together. And that's how the movie ends. We see Caesar succumb to his injuries, and we see them in a better place. And it is so... It sucks to see Caesar go, but, you know, death always has to come. And at least now he can be proud of what he gave them, a new place for love and for peace and prosperity for the apes, free of the war. And we also get to see Caesar die with, I guess, his humanity intact. He's not Koba, and he's not haunted by him anymore. He is just at peace, knowing that he gave back to them, back to the apes, and that he overcame his hate for humans, or his hate for the colonel. And so, well, I don't think he'll ever overcome it. You know, he still despises him, but in the end, he got his just desserts, you know? But he let him take it for himself. This whole movie was beautiful. It was really well done. Which one do I like more? It's hard to say. I really like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, but this one was also very powerful. And it's also like there was a lot to fight against or push through. I'm gonna say Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is probably my favorite. Even though this is a great ending, this is a perfect ending. I just like the quote unquote conflict between the apes, Koba and Caesar. I also like the betrayal. I like Caesar's son learning more about his father and his love for humans and his past. I like the references to, you know, Caesar's, I don't want to say father, just James Franco, you know what I mean? I like to see that he understands that he can have a relationship with humans, but they just want to kill the apes and that war is inevitable and that there's something coming, war is coming. I feel like those kind of moments are amazing, but War for the Planet of the Apes, this is a great trilogy, great work. I feel like the performances were really outstanding. Woody Harrelson did amazing in this movie as the Colonel, and he really kind of showed like what humans would probably really do in this situation, or. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. Go watch this trilogy. Go watch any of these movies. I never watched them. I only watched Rise of the Planet of the Apes, like when it first came out, and then the other ones I was kind of like, they're just doing whatever. But now I realized I was missing out. I was missing out on some good stuff. So yeah, and now I guess they're setting up a new trilogy or a new Planet of the Apes franchise or set of movies. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if it's just like a standalone film that they came out with the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, but we'll see. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. I'll talk to you guys all next time. Thank you.